I'm Tara Montoya, and I am our People Operations Manager here at Trainual. I'm super excited to spend some time with you, jumping into something that I am passionate about, which is our employee experience. So not only are we going to talk about our employee experience, but we're going to talk about how we use the software to ensure we are creating a great employee experience. And I have divided the employee experience into 4 different sections today, just so we can show you how we use it in each section. So the first section is the candidate section. So this is when someone has applied for a position, they have not yet received an offer, but they're going through the hiring process. Then we're going to dive into post-offer. So this is when someone has been extended an offer, they've accepted, but before they're going to start onboarding. The third section we'll dive into is employee onboarding. And then finally, we'll talk about life after onboarding. What does it look like to be a Trainual employee here, and how do we use the software there? Okay, so let's dive right into the candidate section. So we've all been there, right? We found our dream job, we've applied, we start going through their interview process, and we are hoping that we get the job. Right, we've all been there, maybe recently. So we're going to be asking ourselves a few questions before we accept the job. One of the questions that we might be wondering about are, what are the benefits here at this company? Another question we might ask ourselves is, what is their mission statement? We might be wondering about their core values and their culture. We might be curious if we fit in. Do they have affinity groups and clubs? What does their leadership team look like? What is their compensation philosophy? Where can I live? I think this is a really critical question right now, especially with us all being in a hybrid world. I'm sure folks are out there wondering, like, where do I live when I start working for this company? And of course, onboarding expectations. So when we are bringing on a candidate, we want to ensure that they have done as much research about Trainual as we have about them. We want to ensure that they are making the best choice for them and their family, and we want to be as transparent as possible. So we do like to assign them a Trainual candidate subject. Here is a little bit about what that looks like. So these are all of the different subjects that our new hire does get, or our candidate gets, so they can take a look into the weeds and see what the company's really about. So if we dive into this first one, this one is just a video from Chris. It's a nice welcome. It introduces these potential new hires to Trainual. Another area I want to show you is our core values. I think it's super important to share with our new team members what our core values are and what our culture is about. We also are super transparent and show everyone what their benefits could potentially be. As a working mom, I'll just throw that out there. I find this to be very useful and very helpful when I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to be doing. Is this going to actually fit in with my family, what our needs are? We also share cute videos from our leadership team. This is just an excellent way for folks to get to know who the leaders are within the whole company. So not only do they get videos about their specific leader, but they'll also learn about other leaders within Trainual. Okay, so after reviewing all of this information, the candidate is super excited and they get the job offer. Yay! So now we move into the second stage, which is the stage between the offer acceptance and starting. There are a few critical elements that we like to really think about when we're bringing on the new hire and during these about 2-week time frame. So number 1, connection. You'll hear me talk about connection a few times in this presentation. Connection for us is just super important. We also want to ensure that we're communicating with the new hire. We want to provide them as much access to information as possible. And for our team internally, we want to ensure that we're creating efficiencies and saving time. So connection. I mentioned this one is really important to us. You'll see, again, this a lot. But first things first, we like to announce our new hires before they even start. So this is a peek into what it looks like at one of our all-hands meetings or our quarterly all-hands meetings. We like to share with our team the exciting news of who's about to join us. This is just a great way for people to connect with people really quick. We also drop in our internal Slack channel information about the new hires are, and folks will go immediately to LinkedIn and add these folks and just share really nice messages about like, hey, welcome to the team. We're super excited to see you. So the connections start early on. They start before someone's even entered the building, and it just makes them feel more connected and more happy that they're part of the team. We want to provide them access to information. And one of the ways that I do this is I use our groups. So you'll see here is a screenshot. These are actually my groups. But right here, the pre-start, the new hire pre-start is the one that I send new hires before they've even stepped foot into the building. This just ensures that they know everything they need to know before they start with us on day one. So communication. I'm diving into the actual new hire section here so you can see it. But this is what we send them pre-start. So they're going to get information about the company perks and benefits. They're going to know how to be successful within their first 90 days. We're going to have an office overview and policies. And then we have a really cool subject in here about how to keep your inbox at zero. So the folks, before they enter in day one, they go through all this content. If we go even further, this is one of the steps that they will go through, but this shows you our address. So if a new hire comes here, they can click on this link. It'll take them to maps. It'll show them exactly how to get to the building. We also have a screenshot of our address. And then, of course, we have a photo. So all of this content I'm showing you right now was created by our Ariana. She is our office manager. Shout out to Ariana, who is the best. I wanted to show you this one because I think this one's super fun. She starts with a GIF. Then she adds content. Then she even has a screenshot. She takes it a step further with highlights, right? Like, here's the building. This is where you park. And if that wasn't enough, she creates an interactive video. So this video is just a great way for folks to know, okay, I'm going to park here, and then I'm going to take this journey to get to the office. And if you get lost, you can simply click this hyperlink. It'll take you directly to an email to connect with Ariana. So that was all the stuff that we share with our new hires before they start. Internally, though, we also want to ensure that we are creating time efficiencies. And so, of course, we have Trainual content for our internal team. This is what this looks like. So this is the process that we use for onboarding. So if I am new to my position, I can jump in here. I can figure out exactly what steps I need to take to ensure that onboarding is kicked off flawlessly. So we're going to take it a step further. Right here, this shows us how we use our Asana task boards. We also use Asana in conjunction with the Trainual content, and this does make that a seamless, easier checklist process. Ensures that we're creating a consistent onboarding. If I were to click on one of these templates, it'll show you the templates that we use for every single new hire. We do create a new template board per new hire, and so it just makes sure that we create a consistent experience for everyone. We also really focus on communication. You can see right here, this is an email that I'm sending to the new hire that just sets them up for success so they know exactly what to do for day one. We also ensure that the managers have tasks in here where they connect with that new hire before they start. This is also another cool feature that we have down here. If I click on this, this will take me back to that Trainual content and it will walk me through how to use this Asana task list. So it's super helpful. Okay, so the day we've been waiting for, new employee onboarding. I will say this, I love my job. Onboarding is simply probably my most favorite part of my job. I love having new hires in the building. It's such a great energy. They bring so much excitement to the team. I really love it. So the onboarding experience. Did you know that 69% of employees are more likely to stay with the company for 3 years if they've experienced a great onboarding experience? So this is important, right? We want to ensure that we're setting the stage. So not only do we want our new hires to have an amazing experience during onboarding, but we also want to set them up for success. So we do a few things here. Prior to a new hire even starting, we have gathered information from them during that 2-week phase where we ask them stuff like, what's your favorite food? Do you have any food allergies? What do you do for fun? What are your favorite restaurants? So that when they join us on day one, we can really customize their onboarding experience to fit them and to fit their team. And so they do feel a little extra special. Another important thing to know is that consistency does matter. So organizations with a standard onboarding process experience greater new hire productivity. So not only does it matter that we're creating a great experience, but we want to ensure that we are documenting the processes and the behind the scenes steps to ensure that that experience is consistent. So I know a second ago that I said that we customize the experience, but we also make it consistent, right? So those things that are part of our processes, getting folks into systems, ensuring that they know what to do day one, those are the things that we know with consistency. And then we can also have some fun and create those customized experiences with those other additional exciting parts of onboarding. Okay. I hope no one cries when they see this, but this is what a new hire experiences for 3 days. This is a screenshot of my calendar when I first started. What we like to do is we like to ensure, again, that the new hire knows exactly what's going to happen during their times with us. So first things first, we give them a tour of the building, we get coffee with them. The first meeting you see here is called Meet Pops. Now, this is a really important meeting because this is where we set the stage. We talk to our new hires about the mission, the vision, our core values, and then we have tons of other interactive presentations throughout their first 3 days. One thing that I would love to call out is we do ask them to meet with their team lead on day 1. They will sit down with their team lead. They'll talk about their 30, 60, 90, which we'll jump into here in a minute, but it's just a great way for them to understand what the expectations are for them in their role. We also ensure that there's time for Asana tasks, and we ensure there's time for one-on-ones to further those connections. One thing I would love to call out is we are strategic about how we do our interactive presentations. We ensure that we leave time for Trainual content afterwards so that any of the messages that we've talked about in our presentations are then reinforced again with the Trainual content. So we like to pair them together. They have those conversations, that they can go back to that Trainual content and really solidify those thoughts or those key learnings that we want them to have. And of course, we use tests and all the things. Okay, so some of the questions that we're focused on answering during their onboarding stage is, who works here? What does everyone do? How is everyone connected and where do I fit? What does the company do? What is the culture here? What are the rules here? How do I do what is expected of me? And how do I find answers quickly? So again, our mission and values. This is the first thing I like to hit on. It's super important, right? It's close to us. It's why we're here. So the mission and values is here to answer, what does the company do and what is the culture here? So we have the presentation. Then this is the information in Trainual that backs that up. Here's our vision. Here's our mission. And then here are our core values. I love what we've done here in the core values because the first one is a video from Chris talking about why the core values are important. We can click on each core value and it's going to take us into a video as well as content that really drives home why these core values are important and what they look like in daily practice. I mentioned 30, 60, 90s earlier. So this is an example of my 30, 60, 90. I don't know, this is wild, but Trainual was the very first company I ever worked for where I had a 30, 60, 90. And let me tell you, it is a game changer. As a new employee, you're obviously nervous. You're trying to figure everything out, all the questions that we had talked about earlier. But just having something in front of you that says, hey, you want to be successful? Obviously, we want you to be successful too. This is exactly what you need to do in your 30, 60, 90 to be successful is so refreshing and so just like, takes the pressure off. So I love that we do this. We also support this in the software through our roles. So in the roles section specifically, we're looking at how do I do what is expected of me. So I'm sharing my role, and I know Bradford had mentioned earlier that we can put a bio in. So here is a snapshot of my bio. For each new hire before they come on, we do create their Trainual account and we do put a photo in and we do add their bio so folks can start learning who they are before they even start. We usually have some information about our background, but then we also do fun things like, so for fun, I enjoy hiking, practicing yoga, cooking, baking, and spending time with loved ones and friends. So this is great. This is a great way for me to connect with others and to others know what I'm about. I can take it a step further. We can go down and look at the groups and the responsibilities. One thing I love here too is it has everything that I need to do to be successful. So it mirrors that 30, 60, 90, right? All those things that were set up for success there are now mirrored in the software. So if I'm looking through this and I'm like, oh no, I forgot how to be a Cheerios co-leader. Could happen because there's just so many things going on. I can click on this link here and it's going to take me into the Cheerio leader onboarding section of Trainual, right? So I can jump in here. I can read about what I need to do to be a Cheerio leader and to be successful. We can take it a step further and look at one of the Cheerio programs itself. So we have a buddy program. This is exciting. I love this one. We pair a new hire up with someone in our Cheerios group who we think that they would have a natural connection with. These folks get together during those first 3 days just to have a 30-minute conversation, more of a just get to know ya. We like to pair this person with someone outside of their department so that going forward, they have an extra buddy that they can lean on to answer questions and to just have a familiar, kind face around. So this is information about the buddy program. And maybe I'm not really sure what this step is. I can click on it and it will give me even more information. So I wanted to show you this section because it shows you how easy it is to link from one contact piece inside the software to another content piece inside the software. Honestly, I would spend so much time recreating content if I wasn't able to connect from one spot to the next. And so I really appreciate that we're able to do this, and it saves me a lot of time. Connections, yay! We're back to connections. I mentioned earlier, they're super important. They're really important in every single stage. I think that during the first 3 days of onboarding, first week, whatever it looks like, connections are probably the most important thing that we can ensure we're accomplishing when folks join us. So some of the things that we're looking to answer during the connection stage is who works here, what does everyone do, and how is everyone connected? And how we do that in the software is through the org chart. So here is a screenshot of the folks that I work with the most here at Trainual. It is the Pops and Ops team. I can quickly come in here and see who my immediate team members are and some of the other team members. I'm going to click on Marlo's because I work with Marlo quite a bit. Here she is, dun, da, 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 Marlo. So I have access to see what groups she's part of. I can see who she reports to. I can read her bio. This is so cool. So Marlo also loves yoga. She is an instructor. She's a pit bull mom. She likes to travel and she likes tacos. I like tacos. So maybe we can do a yoga taco date, right? Just a great way to make those connections, break those boundaries down. Now let's take it a step further and say that Marlo is on vacation or she's out sick. I can come down and look at her responsibilities and I can dive in and help. Maybe I need to help her with some employee behind the scenes engagement information. I can click on this and it will take me right into the process and how she does that. So then I can fill in for her. I can help. We don't miss a beat as a team and we just continue to move forward. Okay. So one other thing I would love to call out for this stage, we want to ensure our new hires are jumping into Trainual and creating content right away. And how we do this is we set them up with Trainual University. Shout out to Sean Jensen. Yay, Sean. He manages this program for us. What it is it's about 4 hours. I send it to him. I send these folks to this like week 2. It's 4 hours in the software where they're learning content. They're learning how to use the software. It's super interactive. And think about all the time that I'm saving as the trainer by not having to show them how to use Trainual. Right? Makes these team members much more efficient in Trainual, and it's just a great saver for me for time and also for them. So check it out. It's free. Enroll in Trainual University if you haven't. Okay, and the last stage that we have here is the employee experience. Okay, I'm sure I'm not the only one. I know that we had the name throwing around earlier as Shannon. So I am not the only Shannon here, but I always say to everyone, there is a Trainual for that. I would be like a millionaire if I had $1 for every time I had to say that. It's so true. There's a Trainual for that. So always put your information in Trainual. It'll save you time in the long run. But how do we support our employees during this stage? Number one, we want to ensure that they're receiving the right message at the right time. We also want to ensure that we're giving them a consistent message. We want to ensure that folks can find answers quickly, and we don't want them waiting on others. These last two are super important, especially in the hybrid world that we live in, right? We have folks that are on the East Coast, folks on the West Coast. We have some team members in Ukraine. We have some team members in Portugal. So if you can imagine, we're all working on different time zones. It would be impossible for us to have to wait for others to respond to us to get to the things that we need to do quickly. So it's nice that we have all of our stuff in Trainual where people are not waiting on other people. What does this look like in the software? So we have policies, right? And the policy is here to answer what are the rules there. So here are our policies. These are the people ops policies or office policies. So I'm going to show you just a few of them because I think that it's important to know that we can have fun with the policies as much as we can have some of those more serious policies. So here's a policy that's fun. Bring your dog to work. I mean, who doesn't want to bring dogs to work? Right? Everybody does. So if I want to bring my dog to work, I'm not sure what to do. I can go to this policy. I can find out exactly the steps that I need to do to bring my dog to work. We also can have some of our more serious policies in here, like our stance on harassment, right? So this is a more serious policy. We have both of them in here. Folks can resort back to these, reference them back whenever they need them. Processes. So this is answering, how do we do what is expected of me? Again, this is a great tool to use if someone is new to their role, maybe they're stepping into a new role, or maybe they're helping cover for somebody. Here are all the processes of how to do their jobs. So I'm jumping into one of Marlo's because this isn't technically like the area that I focus on. But again, if Marlo's out, or if I just want to understand what the hiring process looks like, I can jump into her hiring section and find out all the information I need to know here. I also wanted to show you this because I love what she's done here. She's created a template that folks can just copy and paste and create their new jobs without having to rely on Marlo to help them in the beginning with the heavy lift, right? So it's saving Marlo time, but it's also saving our leaders and our team members time by not having to go and find Marlo. They can do this whatever works for their schedule, and they can start cranking out that content whenever they need. Okay, so I'm going to spend a few minutes talking about some of our fun stuff that we do. So not everything that we put in Trainual is business, if you will. We do have some more fun sections. I feel like some of those other sections were really fun too. So we have lots of fun sections, but these are extra fun. So we have our clubs and affinity groups. So again, I mentioned connection earlier. This is just a great way for folks to see the folks and the groups that they connect with and that they can bond with. So of course, each area within Trainual, we have areas for our affinity groups and our clubs to present content. It shows folks some of the pictures of the fun things that the clubs have done, but it also talks about what you can expect if you join a club or an affinity group and how to start that process. Another area that we use the software for is the annual retreat. Okay, here's a photo of us at the most recent annual retreat. We went to Seattle. If you can imagine, I'm the gal that plans this trip. So if you can imagine all the questions that I might be fielding if I didn't have a Trainual for this trip for 72 folks, we're talking flights, we're talking hotel rooms, we're talking food, activities, what do people pack? Like all the questions that I would have to answer on a daily basis would be insane. So I did create a Trainual. See, there's a Trainual for that. This one goes over all of the different things that people might want to know. The hotel, the flights, activity options, food, transportation, logistics, hospital and urgent care, you just never know. Of course, what to pack, our alcohol policies, and what is covered by Trainual versus me. So if we dive into the last section, what is covered by Trainual versus me, this was super easy to create because I didn't actually have to go in and create new content. I just pulled from other content. So this is our reimbursement process here. And maybe someone's not sure how to use our actual reimbursement tool that we use, which is called TeamPay. They can click right here on this hyperlink and they can get all the information they need to know on how to process that TeamPay reimbursement. So again, here it is, shows you what they need to know to put that reimbursement in, and they can click on that to then know how to do it. So it really saves me time. It also saves the employees time, and it's just a great way to link information back and forth. Okay, so we're going to wrap this up. We've spent a good amount of time together. It was a lot of information. The employee experience does look different for everybody, but there are a few things that I want you to think about as you're leaving this session. So number one, when you're in there creating content, have fun with it. As you saw, we have a lot of emojis, we have a lot of GIFs, we have a lot of videos. There's a lot of interactive things in there. You could throw tests in there. There's just a lot of fun that you can see that we have. Obviously, we are a very emoji happy company. Save time by linking to other content. I referenced this a few times throughout my presentation, but you really can save quite a bit of time if you just link content to other content. Don't rewrite policies, just link it all together. Can you save time by creating a process? So ask yourself this question. Is there something that you can do? Like, is there a process that you can create that will save time? A good example of this are those Asana task lists that we use for new hires, right? Something that's never going to change. It's the same process that we use every single time. So let's document it, do it, and delegate it, right? So we want to ensure that we're getting those processes in, put it in Trainual. So not only create that process, but then put it in Trainual. And finally, like, this can be very overwhelming, especially if you don't have a lot of content in there and you're maybe not sure where to start. What I would do is ask yourself the question of, what is the one question that I get asked the most? What are the areas that I'm providing the most information on a daily basis? And I would start there. Okay, so I've enjoyed our time together. I am always happy to answer questions. I am more internal facing typically with our employees, but I definitely love customers. So if you want to hit me up at all, feel free to hit me up. My email is tara@trainual.com.
Absolutely epic, Tara. Thank you so much. I'm not trying to like brag about you and the people ops team, but like at the same time I have to, right? Because Trainual has won a best place to work on Inc. magazine's list, best places to work list for the last 3 years in a row. Not to mention like the Phoenix best place to work and whatever else local, but like nationally ranked on Inc.'s best place to work 3 times in a row. And that is so much because of the work that you and the people ops team do, like with that initial experience. So many people botch the initial experience. We know from even just a lot of the ad content. I don't know who on here has like seen Trainual ads out there, but we run a lot of ads that like really play into that feeling of a terrible start at a new company and how Trainual can solve that. And really it's as much about the software as about the care you put into it, right? The software enables it, but Tara and team like facilitate it. And the two together are what create a best place to work. So thank you for everything that you do for our new hires. I mean, we actually just in the last month hired 5 new people onto the sales team, a new product manager. Like we are growing. And I met with every new account executive on the sales team within their first week. And in those little meetings that I had, just checking in, seeing how things were going, every single one of them, the first thing they said was, onboarding has just been like blowing my mind, like crushing any other experience I've had at any other company. And that just has to do with the intentionality that you pour into it, but also the structure that you give it. And so that's where it's software meets people experience, right?
Right. Yeah, for sure. I mean, I love onboarding. I said it earlier. It's funny, every single core value, but every single role that I have, I'm always like, this is my favorite. But really, onboarding is my favorite. I do love it. It's so much fun. I think we do a great job. Take a lot of pride in it because it is such a great experience, but also it's just so much fun.
It is fun. It's fun to bring new people into the fold. All right. Well, Tara, thank you for bringing us through that.